You know, the problem with Kinder Surprise bunny rabbits is that although they contain a surprise toy inside, sometimes it's just not surprising enough and you have to augment that surprise yourself. So here's the plan. I'm going to drill a large hole in its anus and I'm going to remove the toy from inside, whatever it is. I'm not sure if it's a capsule or a toy on its own. Then I'm going to well, basically put an explosive charge in instead. So let's start by drilling out Mr. Bun-bun's butt. So I've got a suitable hole saw here, which I'm going to go in delicately. Try not to drill myself, because this is just chocolate after all. Oh, that's not going very well. It's skipped so far right. I'm going to have to nibble this with pliers. Let's use electronic snips. Yeah, let's use electronic snips to just nibble my way delicately around here. I don't want to damage the chocolate too much because the chocolate is required later on to contain as much of the force of the explosion as possible for maximum drama. This label on the bottom is actually not helping too much. It's like open butt surgery in chocolate animals. So what is this toy inside? Is it big? Let's just nibble away a bit further. Oh, it's that classic Kinder chocolate with the sort of white layer and the milk layer. Oh, this is just very, very... You know, I expected its bottom to be softer than this. Right, okay. The capsule is kind of trapped up at the other end now. That's a bit annoying. Can I get that out? Am I going to have to use more brute force? I don't want to destroy the rabbit because, well, we are going to destroy the rabbit, obviously, but we want to keep it as intact as possible. Yeah, that toy in there is held in place by... Oh, here it comes, here it comes. Get out. It's all going horribly wrong. Is it going to come out through that hole? Yes, it's come out. And this leaves us the chocolate shell in which to insert an explosive charge. I'll just sweep this aside. Keep in mind I've had various other explosive materials in this bench. What's the toy anyway? Is it going to be a proper Kinder toy or is it going to be one of those rubbish little... Yeah, it's going to be one of those rubbish little things with minimal assembly required. It's Mr. Easter Bunny. What? Oh, I wondered if that was to go around that way. Apparently it's not, it goes around that way. He almost had a much larger penile protuberance than normal. Okay, that's Mr. Easter Bunny. This is the real subject of this particular video, though. I might have some of that chocolate, even though there might be explosive residue in the vicinity. Let's bring up the next item in the recipe here, which is explosives. Ooh, what can I use? I could use an XL robotic. The last one was quite big. I could use a sparkle flash, or... Let's see, how much is in these sparkle flashes? There's not a huge amount of powder in them. Tell you what then, let's augment this one by getting a blade and doubling up and turn it into not a small sparkle flash, but a very, very big sparkle flash indeed. Again, this is not recommended practice. Oh, look at that, flash powder everywhere. Wow. Right, so I've put about twice as much flash in as they normally have. So I'm now going to cover that with a bit of tape to contain the blast and actually increase the force at which it comes out. And then I'm going to put this into the bunny of the rabbit and then I'm going to hot melt glue thoroughly around the base, and hopefully that's not going to melt the chocolate too much and we're going to end up with a very explosive rabbit. Okay, I'll be back in a moment. The deed has been done. I ended up using resin to seal around here just because it was going to be less of a risk of melting chocolate than the hot melt glue. I had a feeling that, you know, if the hot melt glue might just end up making it all sloppy. I've also twisted the leads together as a precaution just to short them out, so because I've got batteries in the vicinity, and that's never a good thing with pyro. I'm going to fire it. Now, I had the option of my firing system, which is this, but this is actually intended for pods. Pods that look like this well-charred and well-worked pod has fired lots of explosives in various television programs and films. However, I'm not going to use this because these units are not really equipped for connecting leads to, and I don't really have an adapter for the pod system that goes down here. So instead, I'm going to be using the quick test, because I'm going to be doing this outdoors for obvious reasons. Given that I think it's going to be quite a big bang it makes, I could be wrong. Maybe I've put too much explosives in there and it's actually not got enough room to actually open out, but we'll see what happens. And as an extension to this, I'm going to use an actual extension, and I'm quite literally going to fire it. I'm just going to stick a battery across these terminals like that. And that should do, because I've just plugged these together. I've put the ammeter across the end, connected it to a low voltage supply. The combined resistance of everything was about 1 ohm, so including the meter leads. So that's fine for firing that. Now, it's worth mentioning that when I was young and foolish, well, now I'm old and foolish, but I had a competition with a friend at work while we were shop fitting in a jeweller's in Glasgow. And it was the building was empty at the time. We were refurbishing it. And we were having a competition to see who could get the biggest surprise out of a Kinder Egg. Now, Kinder Eggs in the UK are little chocolate eggs, and they've got these capsules inside, and they've got toys. And unfortunately, after an incident when a kid actually choked on the toy, they sort of tamed them down, but they used to have lots of small bits in them. But I decided to go one further and get a real surprise out of it, and I screwed the Kinder Egg onto a piece of wood, put the explosive, the igniter, the electric match, out of a flash cartridge, a theatre flash, Lemaitre theatre flash cartridge, into it, and then filled it up with powder. And up to that point, I hadn't realised the implications. Well, I think I had actually probably had the experience before, but I didn't realise just how this capsule was going to contain that blast. And when you contain an explosion like that, it actually increases in magnitude somewhat. So we went upstairs, and I said, "Oh, come on upstairs, I'll show you this Kinder surprise. It's the biggest surprise of the lot." And as soon as my friend went upstairs, I dabbed the wires across the lead, and blimmin' heck, it was this massive explosion, and all we could see afterwards was this vertical line in our vision where the thing had been, because it really detonated forcibly and vertically. And as the vision returned, the place was just full of shrapnel. It was that all the plastic had shattered into tiny pieces and scattered all over the floor around the place. And the place was full of smoke, and it was wafting out the front of the building. So we were trying to waft, getting any bits of wood and everything and wafting the smoke to try and keep it in the building. So that was definitely, I think I won that competition for the biggest surprise. But yes, so let's see if Mr. Bun-buns can live up to that level of surprise. Mr. Bun-buns had had such a lovely Easter. "I've eaten so many chocolate eggs," said Mr. Bun-buns, "that I could almost explode." And that's the sad story of how Mr. Bun-bun, the Easter Bunny, died.